everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of the Golden Hippo Podcast called Beyond Your Statement. So today I have two very special guests. I have Lior, our Senior VP of Finance, and I have Misty, our Senior Director of People Services. So before we get started, let's just do a quick intro. Talk about yourselves. How long have you been at Golden Hippo?
Thanks for having us, Tanim. So my name is Lior. I've been with Golden Hippo since 2016, and I head finance. My team and I are responsible for things like the financial statements and projections and those things that the valuation company uses to determine the value of the company and the value of the shares.
Okay. Serious stuff. Important. Love it. And
if
Misty?
you say so.
So I'm Misty Lundstrom. I head up the People Services team, which is compensation, benefits, payroll, and HRIS. And I've been with Golden Hippo now for 10 months.
10 months. Okay,
Almost
it feels like it's been longer.
It does.
And
great.
8 years. We've got a good mix. Newer hippo, more seasoned hippo. I love it. Okay, cool. So the purpose of this podcast episode today is really to share more of the why behind our ESOP. So most of our ESOP meetings have been around understanding your statement, learning vesting schedules, that kind of stuff. But really there's so much more into like the purpose of the ESOP that I would really like for us to get into those nitty-gritty details. Okay, but I think first, let's define what the ESOP is, because I've been here 7 years, and I'm one of the first people to say it can get kind of confusing. Mm-hmm. But when you really, really boil it down, and correct me, like jump in if I'm wrong, it is a confusing program, but at its core, it makes every single one of us an owner in the company. Yes. So the company puts in shares that then allows the employees to become owners. It's very simplified, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
good.
Okay. I'm sure I can define it a bit more. But really it defines why it's so important for us to come here to work every single day, whether you're at Golden Hippo, Golden Bolt, Golden Customer Care, or Golden Pet Manufacturing, and really give your all in order to make our company successful. Okay. So all of that being said, this podcast came to be because I was talking to Misty, and Misty, you just came back from an ESOP conference, because that's a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. And the way you talked about the ESOP after that, I was even like, oh, wait, this is a big deal? I don't think I understood how big of a deal this was. So I'm so excited to have put you two on a platform to really show how exciting a program like this is. It is a big deal. A lot of companies don't offer this.
Very few.
That's true.
It's kind of wild. Okay, so let's just jump in. So Lior, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
So you've been around for 8 years, you mentioned. So you were here when the ESOP first started, right? Mm-hmm. So what were those discussions like? What was the motivation behind setting up the ESOP?
Well, it was a way for the owners to share the financial success of the company with all the employees. They recognize that it takes everyone to make the company better, to make the company successful. And that's what we have today, people working collaboratively to help the company grow and be successful, and they participate in the rewards.
I love that. And I think it really speaks to our leadership team.
Right.
It wasn't just a what's in it for them. It's like a what's in it for every single person at this company.
I agree. Which
speaks a lot to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing. So have you worked at other companies that have had an ESOP?
No, actually I've not. This is the first company that I've worked for that had an ESOP or decided to put one together. And it's been a great experience, been great being part of it. Got to work with some really smart people and learned a ton during that process.
Yeah, I remember when it was first set up, there was a lot of buzz around it, around this new program and this incentive for all employees. But I guess on that note, so if you've not worked at other companies that have had an ESOP, but what sets Golden Hippo apart from other companies that you have worked at?
I think what sets us apart is the ownership culture, where everyone is encouraged to think and act like owners. The beautiful thing in my mind is that culture has been here from the beginning, many years before we became an ESOP. So as I was reflecting back on this journey, I remember some of our core values that the founders were promoting were things like take initiative and best idea wins. It could come from anyone, and collaboration and problem solvings. And that kind of helped pave the way in my mind to having this culture we have today, and which is the culture I believe many companies aspire to achieve when they go on that journey to become an ESOP.
I love that. It's like you had to lay the foundations first, and then this ESOP really just enhanced it tenfold. That we're really all owners.
I think it was a great leadership approach for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay, so Misty, my next question is for you. So you've been here 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
What were your initial thoughts when you joined Golden Hippo? What your first initial thoughts around the ESOP, really, when you first joined?
Yeah, so when I learned that Golden Hippo had an ESOP, in my mind, this was just another stock retirement program that I was going to need to manage. I didn't really understand the true value of it until I had gone to the ESOP conference. And then it really changed the way I thought about the ESOP and actually started, I think Tanim, you were one of the first that I came back and I was like, okay, we're not calling it an ESOP anymore. We are going to just call it employee owned. Like we have to get the idea of this employee ownership out there because this ESOP is this intangible thing that somebody gets a statement for every year and they don't really understand it, but really it's about the here and now. It's about being employee owners today, and then how does that drive this retirement benefit, this benefit later in life?
I love that. It's honestly, I think this whole podcast really it's aimed at changing the mentality, like changing my mentality really too around this program. Okay, so employee owned. We're calling it that.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to rebrand. Officially.
Extreme ownership, remember?
Yes,
Nice.
I love it. So your understanding of the ESOP, of the employee ownership program, has really evolved over time in just the 10 months you've been here, which I think really speaks a lot to how we can all change our mindset around it too. So you've also worked at other companies that offer stock options. Why is Golden Hippo different? Why is this program different than those other stock options?
One of the first things is typically companies that offer some kind of stock incentive program. It's generally for managers and above, directors and above. It's usually a limited participation group. It's typically part of the compensation program from a long-term incentive plan versus the ESOP, which is really about the retirement aspect. This is a defined contribution plan. This is something that you don't put any money into. You get this later in life when it matters to you and it's necessary, for you to help set you up for success in retirement. And then, the other thing with stocks that I find is so interesting about the ESOP that's different is when you're a publicly traded company, you can watch your stock go up and down every day. And, do I want to sell it? Do I not want to sell it? That doesn't work with the ESOP. Again, it's not about playing the market day to day. It's about being in it for the long term. And again, driving the business forward so that your value of your shares is worth a lot more at the end.
Hey, again, that really shifts that mindset of we're looking at this like a big picture, long-term goal rather than just a day-to-day checking in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Can I add also
Please. Yeah.
that not all companies offer some form of stock-based compensation.
Yeah.
So it puts us in this other group. And I think what I like about the ESOP, from the employee perspective, it's pretty simple in the sense that, like you mentioned, nothing comes out of your paycheck to fund the ESOP. It's 100% funded for by the company. And, when you start working here, you only got to meet like certain basic criteria, like work here full time.
Yeah.
And then you get an account set up for you automatically, and you'll just have to like set up your beneficiary like you would with a 401k. So it's a great thing to have pretty easy.
Yeah. We're pretty lucky.
I would say so.
We're pretty lucky.
I feel this way.
Yeah.
Same.
And so my next question's for either of you or both of you. How does the ESOP impact the financial well-being of our employees?
So I think going back to everyone is eligible to participate in the ESOP and sharing that financial success we talked about of the company, which I love because everybody partakes in trying to make this company better every day. And you know the saying, right? It takes a village. So this company rewards the village for all their hard work. And I think what I've seen over my time here is we start the year and we set those ambitious goals for what we want to achieve. And what we saw is as we commit to achieving those goals and work towards them, then the company becomes more profitable. The share values go up, and then you see your account go up as well. And then there's another layer, which is every year we're all granted more shares. We don't have to pay for them. The company gives us more shares. So you get this like compounding effect in a way, right? You have the stock performing and you get more shares. So together that helps your account grow. So overall, it's it's a pretty nice thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, it's so funny. Like I've been around the entire ESOP, the lifetime of our ESOP, and like I'm like that perspective is very new for me. So thank you. So let's flip it then. So we just discussed the financial impact for employees, but how do employees impact the financial well-being of our company?
Yeah, so I think that this is probably the biggest piece of the ESOP that I think is not understood, is that every single employee in this company impacts the bottom line to our financials, which impacts the ESOP at the end of the day. And so, for instance, if you work at the pet manufacturing facility and you spill raw materials on the floor, that's an expense to the company that goes straight to the bottom line.
Yeah.
You're a call center representative at GCC and you have an ability to turn around a situation where a customer is unhappy and they're able to find a different product that works for them, and then they become a long-term customer with us, right? That's driving revenue. Whether it's Lior making sure the financial statements in his organization are accurate and everything's good so that we don't have any compliance issues, because compliance leads to expenses. All these things, every person has an impact on the bottom line. So what you do day to day is what's driving the financial well-being of our company and ultimately your own financial well-being.
That's huge. Our day-to-day decisions and our actions in our 9 to 5 or whatever shift we have directly impact our long-term retirement plan.
Yes.
Really. No pressure. But I do think it really encourages me to, really work hard, stay focused, and continue working towards my goals, which I think is huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So what do we need to do as employees to practice that deeper sense of responsibility and that commitment to making our companies successful?
I think it's literally thinking like an owner. Thinking like an owner.
Ooh.
Whether you own a bakery, a tire shop, or you're a part owner of Golden Hippo, what you do every day matters, and how you think about where you're spending money, what you're doing to drive revenue if you're in that situation, just all the decisions you're making, hiring employees, making sure you're hiring the best employees for the company. You are an owner of this company, so you need to act like an owner, even if it feels bigger. It's so large because we are one of the larger ESOPs out there.
Really?
Yeah, most ESOPs are very small. So we're a larger one. So I can see how people don't feel that and can't touch that impact that they have. But really, every day, waking up saying, you know what, I'm going to do something to make my company better today.
That's powerful. Think like an owner.
Think like an owner.
Yeah. I think it's an opportunity, right? Because being an owner is something that's beyond reach. It's not very much available to everyone. So I think I see it as an opportunity, as a good thing. And it really pertains to every area of the company. And you gave some great examples on how it can apply in manufacturing or any other area. So I agree 100%.
Very powerful. I have chills. But to be reminded that I am a owner in this company, it's huge. We all are.
And it didn't cost you a dime.
Nothing. I love it. I'll take it. And you're so right. Like becoming an owner, like that wasn't I don't think that's in the stars for me. But so the fact that like I have that opportunity now to have that and be able to say that is really cool.
You're already an owner.
Thank you, Lior. What an honor. We all are.
We all are.
I love it. So going back to the compensation part of this all, how does the ESOP impact our overall compensation package?
The ESOP is really part of our total rewards package. So it goes beyond the compensation. It's more on the benefit side of things. So, your compensation is based on, your salary or your hourly wage, whatever you're taking home. And that's what so many people are focused on. Again, we understand inflation is high, right? People need to bring home a paycheck. They have to be able to pay their rent and all those things. But so few times are people really looking for what does that look like in my future? What is the retirement side of things? Especially, coming out of college, you're worried about paying your student loans or just, you're raising a family and all those types of things. This really enhances a piece of people's total rewards package that they're not even thinking about, which is one of the challenges it has, honestly. So it's a benefit and it's a challenge because it's this intangible thing that once a year we give you a statement, we show you how much money you have sitting there for this time down the road. And you're thinking, yeah, well, I still need to pay my car insurance this month or whatever that is. So, but it sets us apart because, pensions are the way of the old times, that people worked and they'd get a pension at the end of spending 30 years with a company. But it didn't drive anything. It was a given that you were going to get it. It was based on a calculation. But this drives behavior. That's what this is different about, right? And so other than 401ks, which most companies offer a 401k, we have a great 401k with a great generous match in addition to our ESOP. So keep adding to it. There's not a lot of other savings plans out there for people for their retirement. And so this is just setting them up for that future wealth.
I'm not very well versed in retirement packages or anything like that. But I think that to compare it to what I understand is a pension, you're right. Like if I had a pension right now, I'd just be like, cool, I'm here. Let me just do my day-to-day, like stick around. But that meant the mentality that comes with the ESOP, becoming that employee owner, really, really drives home the message of making an impact, increasing revenue, not like answering a customer call quickly, not dropping product on the floor. Like things like that really, it changes how you think, I think, which is very powerful. Yeah. So to wrap us up, the employee stock ownership plan seems like such a powerful benefit to all employees. Why don't other companies have this?
It's a great question. I personally feel like it's a kind of like a well-kept secret, but maybe some of the reasons why there aren't many ESOP companies and there's under 7,000 ESOP companies in the whole United States. I think it's probably some of it due to like lack of awareness. And there is a lot of regulatory things you have to go through to set it up. So that requires some effort to get to that end result. But if you kind of fast forward beyond that, the data also shows that employee owners have higher retirement saving overall, and it's in addition to the 401k, as you mentioned, and also higher like net wealth for their household. So overall, like I'm happy to say from, seeing the numbers for the company and the individual accounts, like I think it's a win-win situation because really everybody benefits, the company and everybody that works here.
Did you say there's around 7,000 companies that we're one of 7,000?
There's not that many. They're mainly in like construction, manufacturing companies, like professional services. Definitely like companies like Golden Hippo. I haven't heard of another ESOP, but there's not that many ESOPs around out there.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And the majority actually have less than 250 employees in them. So again, when I say we're one of the largest, that's why I think it's hard for people to wrap their head around. I think one of the magical things for me that I've learned through this is there's this miracle moment, they call it, when the leaders of an organization make the decision to create an ESOP. They call it this miracle moment because it is their moment of when they're going to share wealth with all the employees that normally just work the 9 to 5, bring home the paycheck type of thing. And it's really a great way to decrease the wage gap, the wealth gap that we have in the U.S. as well, is what it's doing. And again, it truly does drive business behavior and business growth, and it's been proven. And so, yes, I'm with Lior. This is a really well-kept secret. So, I'm well-versed in comp and benefits, and I had no idea what I was getting into coming here. And I think it's truly awesome.
There's other benefits too. Like ESOP companies have less like turnover because employees like to stay.
Right.
They realize the benefits. They realize they're part of something bigger than just a normal job. And it's a great thing.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
And I think to hear it from the two of you who are experts in this, really, like truly, no, you guys should give yourself more credit. But to hear it from both of your perspectives, I think is so, so powerful. So I just want to thank the two of you for being on this podcast that's going to be shared with all of our employees, just to really share this message of ownership. So I think this can maybe be our miracle moment, like as employees, to listen to this episode and just stop and think and like realize the impact that our day-to-day has on not only the business, but our long-term, our future, our financial well-being, long-term.
Think like an owner, because it is your future.
I love that. Think like an owner. So just as we wrap up this episode, just changing my ask of all of our employees, I think we would all ask, is just that shift in mindset ever so slightly from I'm here to do my job, cool, great, leave, to, okay, my decisions today, like literally right now, will impact my future, everyone's future.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Thank you both so much. I really, really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thanks.